A lot of those guys, like, you know, they can stay over there as an 18-year-old and sign a professional contract and get paid. So, you know, they don't want to move over there. They don't want to come to America to go to school and practice when they could be making, you know, a little bit of money.
Yeah, and that's just it. You know, after college is over, people think, oh, that's it. You know, you got the CBA here, the D League, but there's so many kids that don't understand about the opportunities they have overseas.
I think it's a very good option. I wouldn't deter anybody's dream from being in the NBA. If you want to play in the NBA, keep that dream alive. You know, it's still alive in me. But if it doesn't happen and you have to go overseas and play, you know, you can make a very good living over there. And my dad always told me, you know, he was like, hey, there's NBA scouts everywhere. If you do what you're supposed to do, you know, they'll find you. So
they understand the international level. They know what it takes, and they understand the opportunity that it gives a kid who's coming out of college to prolong their career and to make a good, you know, good money out of it, as opposed to a player where he doesn't have anyone in his corner, you know, an adult male figure, father figure, whatever you want to call it. They really don't understand it. So those kids may not know how to get the right agent. They may not know about the tryouts that they do have around the country for some of these international teams. So I think it's really strong to have someone like a Carlton Valentine or Denzel and Drew. You know, when their careers are over here in America, if they don't make it to the NBA, there's great opportunities overseas.
My dad played overseas in Sweden, and so I've always, you know, kept an open mind on that, just in case things didn't work out. You know, I've seen guys like Justin Ingram that's, you know, playing here. And then just, you know, the teammates, and, you know, my dad has a lot of ex-teammates and ex-friends and, you know, family friends that play overseas. So, you know, I've always been open to that, and I've thought about that.
Where'd you go to college at?
University of Toledo.
When did you start realistically knowing that you'd play overseas? When you were at Toledo or before that, or what?
It was actually about two months after I graduated from Toledo, because after I graduated, my dream was, you know, NBA. That's the only thing in my mindset was NBA. And then, you know, I had a couple workouts, you know, and when the NBA didn't happen, then, you know, I had to move on, and, you know, I'm making a pretty good living overseas.
Do you think that it's possible for kids from Saginaw and Flint to make it to play international basketball if they set their sights just a little bit lower than the NBA, if they can make it internationally?
I don't think setting your sights lower than the NBA is smart. You know, you always want to reach as high as you possibly can. And, you know, if you have to go play internationally, then, you know, it's not a bad thing. But, you know, to tell a kid to not strive to get to the NBA, it's pretty crazy.
I think every kid growing up playing basketball in middle school, maybe even younger, I think we all aspire to play in the NBA someday, because obviously being in America, it's on TV every single night. You know, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, we all aspire to be like those guys. I think when a kid is in college, it starts to hit home where maybe they're not going to make the NBA and they look for other options, like what are they going to do after school, if they graduate, get their degree, what's next for them. And I think knowing people who played overseas, you know, maybe a former player, an alum who comes in and talks to the guys, I think it kind of opens their eyes to, hey, maybe I can make good money, you know, in a certain country. And I've always thought about this country, say like a Greece or Italy or even a Russia where a lot of people go over and play, or even a South American country like Argentina or Spain. So I think you'd have to say sophomore, junior year in college. And of course, it's the coach, the college coach. You know, I'm sure he gives a lot of advice to players, because when I coached at St. Peter's College, I used to talk to the players all the time about, you know, keeping your options open and going overseas and making money.
I see myself going and playing in Europe or somewhere overseas, maybe Australia or something like that. I've you know, been talking to some people, and people are definitely saying that's a realistic possibility. So playing professionally is, you know, something, you know, every basketball player aspires to do. And, you know, whether it's overseas or in the NBA, it doesn't really matter. Everybody just wants to make it to that next level. And I definitely want to do that too.
I want to go to the NFL. If not to the NFL, I'll go overseas.
Yeah? Are you familiar with overseas leagues?
I'm familiar with the EuroLeague. Yeah.
Do you know any guys from this area or from America that are playing over there right now?
Yeah, not football. I know playing basketball. I know Marquise Gray. He playing basketball in Mexico, and Greg Hamlin. He just got a contract to go to Israel.
So do you see sports as a viable career path for youth from Flint, Grand Blanc?
Yeah, especially Grand Blanc. What occupation I'm going into?
Yeah,
criminal justice. I want to become a border patrol agent.
So you're gonna work in Detroit or Fort Huron?
No, I want to go down to the Mexico border.
And why do you want to go there?
I hear it's more action there. Yeah.
More action.
Yeah, I want to play basketball for Wayne State, Saginaw Valley State.
Oh, okay.
Had some offers, but I turned them down. I didn't really think I would put in all the effort for all the money for like on the long haul, so I went into teaching. So I'm a teacher now. Yeah. I think so. Now, without a doubt, with education the way it is now in the States and Michigan, yeah, without a doubt, like I probably could have made some more money playing ball overseas. At that time, as I was just working out all the time, every day, you know, I think so for sure.
So why'd you make that decision to teach?
Something that I chose to do, have somebody I had a little bit more of passion for at the time, you know, and after being in the field of education, seeing how it's going, and I definitely think maybe if I tried on the other route, it might have been a little bit better for me.
You know, when you're growing up in the States, every kid's goal is to get to the NBA.
I just see like people that I play with all the time living that dream, like Justin Ingram, Muhammad Al-Amin, one of my friends, Brandon Wood. You know, he just got a contract, and I just see them living that dream, and you know, made me want to go for it.
I mean, I could see both, you know. Of course, in the United States, that's where all my people are, all my family and my friends. But, you know, over here, it's great. It's great living. It's great. It's real cheap. You know, you can save a lot of money and just experience a lot and get a chance to explore the world. So, I mean, either way, you know, I'm really trying to get back and play in the States. But if I would have been playing over here for a few years or for my whole career, you know, that wouldn't be a problem at all.
Do you have any aspirations to play international basketball?
I do.
And how realistic do you think that is?
I feel like it's very realistic. I feel like I'm in a position where I can do some damage these next 2 years and get my name out there.
I seen that opportunity in front of me. It was a no-brainer. It was something that I felt like I had to take advantage of, because not only basketball-wise, it helped me even more academically, just having a chance to get my master's or get close to my master's. If you have a master's from Michigan State, you know, that's pretty well respected. So, you know, it couldn't work out any better.
And I think Brandon Wood is right. It couldn't have worked out any better for me. A young kid from Lansing, Michigan. Now I'm a professor and a grad student, learning and teaching sociology at Michigan State University. It's going pretty well for me. But what about the kids growing up right now, the youth in Flint, Michigan? What are their opportunities for upward mobility?
Opportunity for kids to grow in Flint right now. I mean, it's just a bad time right now.
Hey, I found football, found U of M, so hey, why not try it out? I mean, wherever you go, you'll still have an opportunity to make money after that.
As far as the city goes, I don't think you wash your hands of it yet. I mean, I think there's enough people in Flint who still think that there's greatness within that city, and I think you see it in the downtown area. There's been a lot of investment into some of those older buildings, and trying to put some good restaurants and places downtown. And we got to just keep developing the younger generation of people who are encouraged by the city. I know a good friend of mine is with Big Brothers Big Sisters back in Flint, David McGee, and he's he said I'm planting my roots here. I'm not leaving. And another friend of mine, Kellen Brandon, started his publishing company there in Flint. So he's, I think we get more people like that who want to get involved and take a risk on the city.
Yeah, is Flint dead? Definitely not. Definitely not. Do we have a lot of dead mentalities? Yeah, I really think the nature where we are, we're in a reactive state, right? Things happen, we react. Things happen, we react. Things happen, we react. So in order for us to move forward, or continue to move forward, I just think we need to just operate more proactively. You have to be proactive, man. When you react to things, be it the politics and the policies, or the educational system, or the athletics, when you react to something, you're forced to move, right? You're forced to make a decision out of your comfort zone. When you're proactive, the difference is you still move out of your comfort zone, but when you react, you're forced out. When you're proactive, that's your mind saying, I refuse to stay here.
If you could get out of Flint, man, and try to do the same things as you would in Flint in another city, because you're going to have, I think, a better chance, a better opportunity into doing what you want to do in somewhere else. I mean, I hate to say that because I'm from there, but I mean, hey, that's the truth. I mean, you don't want to a lot of key people get stuck in Flint because they don't want to leave, and I advise young kids not to get in that mindset. There's more in the world. There's more in the world than Flint. So, you got to go out and explore it, man. Do what's best for you.
At that point, we had in the 70s, we had 80,000 General Motors jobs in Flint. I think today there's something like 5,000 GM jobs that are left. So when I made Roger Knee, 30,000 of those 80,000 jobs have been eliminated. There were still 50,000 that are working, but I could see that the city and the area was going to fall apart. And so I made this movie to warn people about what was going to happen.
My name is John Girdwood, and I live here in Flint, Michigan. I made this movie to start the discussion about what might happen in the post-industrialized cities in my home state. I was born in another GM town, here in Lansing. So was Oldsmobile. I lived at 1909 Beale Street, which was about a mile away from the GM plant on the corner of Verlinden and Genesee. Went to Elmhurst Elementary, home of the Eagles. As a youth, we played basketball outside on these empty courts. We played high school football at Sexton Field, home of the Big Reds, and one thing that always stuck out about games in the city was the high level of security. It was also across the street from the Verlinden plant, which is now a fenced-in brownfield with more security around it than we ever had at our football games. The plant used to sit directly behind left field, and I remember the shop workers would come out on their lunch breaks to sit on this ledge and watch our baseball games. Moores River Park was nearby too, and had a great view of the power plant, a symbol of the industrial age. We played in the park and were amazed by the massive factories and smokestacks hovering over us. When you left the park, the bridge offered a great view of the GM campus. It looked like a mini city. We were constantly reminded to support our community by buying local, and we were kind of expected to go to Michigan State and get a degree, or just go straight to working at the GM factory. But someone decided demolition meant progress. They leveled the factories, and Michigan State grads make too much money to buy local anymore. There was rubble in the factories instead of workers. But the college in East Lansing is still here, so it's my job to ask the question, what do we do when industries leave and the jobs of our fathers can no longer be our dreams?
I Well, you know, okay, I'm glad you asked that question because I am a GM retiree, okay, and my son is a basketball player overseas. So I guess as he came up, he looked at his dad. I guess how he seen me was, you know, working hard. I instilled some good work ethic in him, and since, but as General Motors moved out, shifted, you know, and moved to other places, the fact that I don't think the kids wanted to work in General Motors, you know, but that's our livelihood. That's what Flint was all about. But I feel that they look beyond that, you know, as far as they look beyond that, they looked at it as basketball as the avenue to take them somewhere else.
I never thought that. I never once did I say I'm gonna not go to school and go work in the shop. I always thought I'm gonna go continue playing athletics somewhere after high school. I always, never once did it cross my mind. I know a lot of people that did though, that got done and just said, hey, I got a job, I got in second shift to the shop, I'm going right to work, and they did.
Another industry. I mean, unfortunately, we do have a large number of the population who aren't college educated, even though we're one of the top college towns in the state. Really, when you think about it, because Flint and Genesee County proper, and some may argue this, but I believe Flint and Genesee County has more colleges and college options than Detroit. I mean, when you really think about the magnitude of all of the locations that are there, I think another industry. We have a lot of low-skilled individuals who still reside here. We have a lot of people who may not have the formal college, you know, post-secondary education. So there needs to be, well, I can't say there needs to be. It would be beneficial if we had some other industry that would allow those individuals to have access to jobs.
There's a few factors. Definitely God is probably the biggest one. I mean, if you're 5 foot and you're trying to be in the NBA, that's gonna, you know what I'm saying? You got to really look at the cards you're dealt with first. And if those look pretty good and you have a chance, then I think the next step is the parent, guardian, the encouragement. If they see you if you're pretty good in the area, they encourage that. But if they see you're in a certain, and this is where the line is crazy, because if you see someone who that may not be the best thing for them to put, but their hopes are so high. You want to encourage it, but you also may want to help to show other possibilities. But at the same time, you can't shoot down a dream. So that's where I feel you have to look at, is this really feasible in a real manner? And if you look at it and it makes sense, then you say, okay, well, if I really, spend a lot of time working out, if I spend the majority of my hours put into this craft, yeah, I will be. But I mean, if you can't sing, I look at American Idol sometimes. I mean, come on, the tryouts for some of these shows, you got some grown folks who, I mean, I understand the passion, but if someone just said, you may not be the best, I'm telling you this out of love. You may not be the best thing, but you have a lot of energy. What else do you like? What's your number 2 passion? Do you know what I'm saying? And kind of maybe we can sing while we do your number 2 passion.
My name is Martin King. I'm from Lansing area.
And have you ever been to this tournament before?
All 9 years.
I am Jonathan Harden. I play at Lawrence Tech.
My name is William Hatcher. I just finished this past season in Israel with Galil Gaboa.
Marquise Graves, my name, and the last team I left, I was in Turkey, Bashkin Gençlik. I'm in the process of negotiating a different contract in a different country, so right now I'm currently in the process of going to a different team.
Okay, Kelvin Torber. I played in Germany this year.
Antonio Smith. I'm currently playing in the NBDL for Wayne Mad Ants.
My name is Alan Seals. I'm from Flint, Michigan. I played for Flint Northern, graduated in 09.
I'm Thaddeus McFadden. I play currently in Germany for the New York Phantoms.
That's kind of why you're here then? Your son's playing right now?
Yeah.
Is he playing right now?
Yeah, yep, he's playing right now.
What's his name?
Shatavius Turner.
Joan Cooley. Currently, my last season I was in Romania. Turkey Moores.
Nate Duhan, play for Chicago State.
Drew Valentine from Oakland University.
And what high school did you go to?
I went to Lansing Sexton High School.
Justin Ingram. Last year I played for Factum Sport Debrecen. Right now I'm in between teams.
How many countries have you played in your career professionally so far?
I played in 2. I played 4 years in France, and then I played 1 year in Hungary last year.
Where'd you go to college at?
University of Toledo. It's usually like one of my shirts I wear to the club.
I think sports is a way out of Flint for a lot of people, and for a while there's the only way out. But I think you see a boom when guys like Antonio and Mo Pete and Jody Allen, who just passed away, and Max Scott from Central. You go and watch those Central Northern games or a city game, and that fuels the younger generation to want to be the next Mateen Cleaves or the next Morris Peterson or next Charlie Bell. I mean, there's so many great memories I have of, and I grew up at Central in the gym watching games from the time I was like 2 years old up to when I went to Central. So I think that fuels a generation of kids that want to be basketball players or they want to be a football player.
They should get out of Flint, but also just come back. If you're doing good, just get out and get a job or get a good paying job, come back, support your family, support others, support family members. And I think it won't be hard. It's just the mindset and just the will to do it.
But I could see that the city and the area was going to fall apart. All said that I'd done this bad thing to Flint by exposing what was going on. But I was just like the doctor who tells you that you have cancer. And you don't blame the doctor for telling you that you've got cancer. But there was a lot of hostility toward me for doing this, which so much time was lost. If people had just listened to me in 1989 when I made that film and started getting on the track to save the town, to bring other jobs, to diversify the economy, maybe we wouldn't be in the shape that we're in Flint right now.
This is a horrible time. Why? Why is it so bad?
And so I made this movie to warn people about what was going to happen.
So now take that young man. What do you like to do, young man? Let's channel this. Where's your passion? What do you love? What do you want?
To have the opportunity and to have the opportunity to put my name in the draft, I would do it after my sophomore year. But if that's not going to work, say if I get injured or something, not that I will, but say if I get injured, I could just come back and just try to rehab, go for the 4 years. If I had that opportunity still, I'd go to the NBA. If not, go overseas. If basketball doesn't work for me, I always have a job going to coaching, coming back to Flint, coaching in high school, or just being a sports broadcaster. I always set goals. I always wanted to be in the NBA from when I started playing basketball. So I work as hard as the next person that's trying to have the same goal as me. So, I mean, the NBA is always going to be there, but once you have the opportunity, I'll go for it.
So did you have the NBA as your primary goal, or did you set your goal at playing internationally at some point along the line? Do you say this is the way I'm going to go?
I mean, I think it was definitely NBA was definitely the ultimate goal, but I mean, everything don't work out the way it is, so playing overseas is definitely a great fallback plan. I mean, that's definitely a great plan B for me. So, I mean, once that happened, I just took it and ran with it.
I think everyone's different, but I think the key thing that everyone needs to know is perspective and honesty. There comes a point in your life where you got to look in the mirror and you got to say to yourself, you got to self-evaluate and say, hey, I'm going into my senior year in college. I average 7 points a game at a mid-major school. I'm not the best player on our team. I'm more of a role player. I found my niche. I'm helping the team win. An NBA career that I thought about when I was an All-American in high school, I was All-State back in high school. It looks like it's not going to pan out now. What are my options? Because I want to keep playing. I just don't want to play in the YMCA. So I think everyone's different. And then you have the players who, have these, inflated opinions of themselves, and they have people around them telling them, yeah, you can go in the draft, you'll get the second round. If you don't, get a good agent, you'll get a tryout with an NBA team. A lot of people fail to realize that if you go to a Mott and play for a Steve Schmidt, he's got tremendous hookups because he played overseas. If you go to a small college and that college coach may have hookups, overseas. It's all about the opportunity, taking advantage of it, and just being realistic about the whole situation.
I was sort of a late bloomer. In high school, I didn't play too much. You know, I got on varsity 11th grade, but I still didn't play a lot. I went down to Eastern Michigan, didn't make the team down there. You know, but I kept going at it. You know, I never gave up. I ended up transferring down to Indiana Tech in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And when, you know, once I transferred there, I started realizing that, you know, hey, this could maybe get me somewhere. And, you know, agents started calling and just went from there.
How does that all go down? Do you make a decision that you'd rather be in a different league, or do you just kind of wait for what comes to you, or do you have an agent that makes decisions for you, or how does that all?
When you first begin, it's kind of like, you know, you're trying to get yourself out there, so you kind of take what comes to you. But the more you prove yourself over in other countries, and the more you put numbers on the board and your numbers are good, you kind of get to pick and choose where you want to go. A lot of teams make offers, and it's kind of like a buffet. You get to choose where you want to go.
I knew Jonathan Jones and Derek Nelson, both from the Lansing area, and JJ was one of the guys that really tried to recruit me there.
Have you been following JJ's professional career?
Yeah, I've been keeping up with him, you know, just, you know, looking up his stats and, you know, seeing how well his teams are doing.
Do you see him as a model for, like, the possibility of where you could go?
Yeah, definitely.
When I was coming up, I used to be around older guys. I had my teen friends, but I always kept myself around older guys because I wanted to take their advice how they lived so long. I never wanted to get caught up in the streets, and like I say, just stay focused and true to what I do.
Do you have any friends that are playing in this Pro-Am this week?
Yeah, Denzel. I've known him all my life. We played against each other from Sexton, and played against him, so I know him pretty well.
And do you have any family that came with you today to this?
Yeah, I have my parents and my grandparents.
My dad was a major influence. He's the head basketball coach at Lansing Community College. So, you know, I grew up playing basketball my entire life. You know, my dad was an All-American at Lansing Community College. He played at Central Michigan. You know, he's been coaching there at LCC for over 20 years now. So I'm only 27, so I've known basketball, you know, my entire life.
My mom and grandparents are all positive. My dad's a little tough, but, you know, he's the dad. He just wants me to play well.
My dad was a pastor for 50 years in the city, and I went into ministry in 1994, and I succeeded him at a church over on the north side of Flint, and we had a gymnasium. He built a gymnasium. My church built a gymnasium, place for us to grow up and play basketball.
Oh yeah, my family was brought up in the projects right around the corner. We used to come up here with my cousin, play in the elementary school, the Brenner Center, which is right next door. They fed us lunch for free throughout the summer, so it was like a second home to us.
We were naturally from the South, but we came here when I was like 3 years old, so I grew up out in Beachland.
And why'd your family come to Flint?
Better living situation.
Do you think that you found a better living situation?
I think at first we did. I'm not too sure now.
Things kind of trailed off a little bit?
Yeah.
Hey, babe, what you gonna say? I said I've been gone a few more weeks and now I'm coming home today. And no, what you gonna do? I said I'm gonna give me a visa, give me money to bring her back home to you.
It was something that I definitely wanted to come back home and, you know, be able to show the youth and the young kids that, look, you know, I was able to play professional ball. I was able to get to the highest level.
Honestly, I wasn't really aware of international play until I got probably until like 10th grade, 10th or 11th grade. You know, my first cousin is Charlie Bell, who played for the Michigan State Spartans, won the national championship.
Yeah, it was a couple guys. Charlie Bell was over there at the time, over in Italy with me. I had Leon Derricks when I was over in the Philippines. And plus, when we left the country, it was like most of the people overseas, they spoke English, which was kind of surprising, but you know, so we made a good connection there.
I wasn't really too big on overseas play or knowledgeable about it until he went undrafted and played, you know, spotty on a couple different teams his first year, and then for the second half of the season went overseas, played in Italy or Spain. But once that happened, that's when I, you know, kind of like, you know, learned a little bit more about, you know, life over there, and that's a possibility also. That's not just the NBA, and you can definitely still make a good living for yourself after college playing ball.
I mean, I always heard about it, but when you heard about the options of, I mean, being able to go overseas if the NBA didn't work out for you. So I think it was definitely like sophomore, junior year of college.
So did it come into your head yourself? Like, did you just all of a sudden say, oh, I'm going to make a career out of this? Or did somebody plant that seed in your head? Or did you
it's both sides because, you know, we got a lot of Flint guys that's playing ball overseas. You know, I play against some of these guys, and I was like, you know, I'm holding my own, you know. So that kind of gave me confidence, you know, and after that, you know, I felt like that I could play overseas professional-wise.
He's a senior.
Okay. What's his major?
Business, I think, business.
You know, my business, you know, kept me here during those summer months.
When I'm home over the summers, we always get up with the guys who play overseas, who play in college, and we usually get together and open up the gym. We usually play about 3 or 4 times a week.
A lot of Flint players over there, you know, they give me great. I think I'm the youngest over there right now, so you know, they give me good advice. You know, a lot of Flint guys. If I name them all, I'll be telling you names all day. So.
In any of those countries, did you stand out? Like when you walk into a restaurant or something like that, did people say that's definitely an overseas basketball player?
Oh yeah, no doubt. We went over to China, and the whole mall was following us. Was amazed by our height and our size over there. So it was funny, but it was a good experience.
Did they know that you were a Chinese basketball player? Or did they think you were like Michael Jordan or something like that?
Yeah, I heard a lot of Michael Jordan. I heard a lot of Shaqs. I heard. Yeah, but it was just a fun experience.
When I first got there, you know, being African American, they look at you just because of that. That's first off. It's like, wow, you know, an African American, a black guy or whatever. But as time went on, you know, you perform pretty well, and everywhere you go is like, you know, hey, can I get an autograph? Hey, can I do this? Can I do that? So it is, you know, it's kind of fun, but it's also kind of hassling because you really can't, you know, go nowhere, get out because, you know, you feel like you're going to be, you know, harassed, and, you know, which is a good thing. Like I say, I've never turned anyone down or something like that, but it's just you know, something that you experience, you know, playing.
You weren't getting asked for your autograph when you were an intern at GM?
Oh, no, not at all. I was getting harassed by my boss telling me to make sure I get my work done.
Actually, about a few months over in the Philippines, it was a pretty nice wages over there, but the most comfortable area was playing over in Italy.
I mean, I think I definitely would say if basketball is something you want, to push it. I mean, to try your best, because basketball took me a lot of places I never would have been without it. So I think it sets you up for good opportunities to meet a lot of people and see a lot of things, and I mean, even network yourself within different areas. And
yeah, I mean, Flint, you know, I mean, off season, you know, it's not a season, it's not vacation. You know, you still have to put in a lot of work, you know, and Flint is great for basketball, you know. So I'm a student of the game, still learning. You know, we have a lot of veterans here, so I come home to train with them and get better, you know, for next season.
This is my fourth year graduating. I graduated in 2008.
What year in school are you?
I'm going to be a freshman.
Of course, players, you know, you usually hang out with people who do the same thing you do, you know, understand what you're going through on the same grind that you're on as well, and have the same thing in common.
Every summer I would come home, you know, for a few months because, like I said, this is home.
I came from Grand Rapids. That's where I live in the summertime.
I live in Lansing, about 6 miles away. Okay.
Well, Lansing always been home.
I live just north of Grand Rapids, Cedar Springs, Sand Lake area.
So where are you originally from?
St. John's.
Well, you know, I come back because, you know, this is home. You know, I'm from Lansing. My family's here, my friends, you know, my girlfriend's here. And I'm a small-time kid, you know. I love being here. When I'm done playing, who knows where I'm going to be, you know. I want to pursue, you know, my dad's a basketball coach, so when I'm done playing, I want to be a coach. Who knows where that's going to take me. So, you know, right now, yeah, I'd say when I'm done, Lansing will be home. But who's to say, you know, I could be in California or somewhere. I'm not sure.
And how long do you think you'll continue your relationships with your current players at Lawrence Tech after you graduate?
For the rest of my life, because they'll be my best friends, and I'll know them very well. So.
Do you follow their careers after they're done playing, or after they're done playing for MSU, or that sort of thing?
Yeah, I do. Some of them stay in touch with me too.
And I'm right here from the same, you know, neighborhood, and went to the same schools you went to. So I wanted to be some type of inspiration. Like, look, if Desmond can do it, then you know I had a possibility of doing it. So. And it's always good to, you know, be at home. You know, people know you. They've seen me grow from elementary kid to middle school to high school to, you know, at the professional level, college level. So it's just a comfortable feeling, you know, when they say there's no place like home.
So how long do you plan to play basketball from now? For 4 years or longer?
I'm looking at it 4 years from right now, but wherever it takes me is.
Yeah, I'm kind of older now. I'm 36, so I bounced around a lot. I started off playing in Spain for a few months, went over to Venezuela, played in the Philippines for a summer. Then my last stint was in Italy for 3 years.
I mean, it's definitely, the economy is tough and bad pretty much everywhere. For me, like I said, I'm more of a family guy, and my family's around here, but there's opportunities everywhere. I wouldn't say just stick to Flint, because there's so many opportunities outside of Flint. And that's the main thing. Like, you want to expand your horizons, and that's the good thing about playing overseas. You get to see how people live in different cultures, and it really make you thankful for what you have. Even living here, you can go over there. People see a ride horse and carriages as their cars. People live in a lot of poverty. Even in Brazil, when I was down in Rio, you had 5 and 6-year-old kids to protect their village and to eat. They had guns, strolling around. So the poverty level is so low that we have a lot of stuff to be thankful for, even being in Flint. So when it comes to jobs, look here. But if nothing available here, look elsewhere.
From 1910 through the 1980s, automobile and parts manufacturing dominated Flint industry. Like the saw and flour mills that preceded them, the factories were centered west of downtown in the Flint River Valley. Industry began here in 1865 with the Beagle and Fox Lumber Company, located on the south side of the river. Lumber mills became wagon and carriage companies, which in turn evolved into automobile manufacturers. In 1913, the Chevrolet Motor Company took over the Beagle and Fox site in the valley. Known as Chevrolet in the Hole due to its location, by 1934, the 80-acre complex employed 14,000 workers at 31 factories on both sides of the river. Facing a downturn in production, General Motors began removing unused buildings in 1995. The last one, Plant 4, was raised in 2004.
I have a cousin that worked for GM, and so he gave me a referral, and they just happened to be hiring, at that period in time. So they had a new car coming out, and they needed to put another shift in. So I actually just had perfect timing, and I got lucky. But it was people I know. I put my referral in, and they was in there for about a month or two. And then I got a call. It was people that got called that had referrals in for like 3 years, 4 years and stuff, something like crazy. So it was, and we didn't even make a lot of money. It was like, they don't hire in at the same rate as they did years before they went bankrupt. But people were like leaving their jobs and running to try to get to GM, leaving jobs that had been at for years. So that just speaks to how down the economy is in Lansing. There's people driving from Saginaw, from Flint, all everywhere to come to Lansing and work in that factory.
I don't think we should necessarily force it down a kid's throat. If that kid loves it, definitely you want to mentor them, you want to do whatever you can to get it to them. On the academic side, you do have cases like that where a kid just can't get it. So you have to continue to try to get them to help. The days of going to the NBA at a high school are over, so they're going to have to go to college. They're going to have to be able to put the pen to the paper, some way or another, and have to get them as much help as possible. You're gonna have to keep the personal tutors, whatever you got to do. But you do have kids that grow up that, they just can't do it, and no matter how hard they try, and it's unfortunate. And I believe that you would blame that on the system. I'm just a firm believer if you put a kid in the right situation, they'll blossom. you can take a kid from the worst environment, you know, drug house or whatever, put them in a great situation, and they blossom. My little brother, we talked about Javante a little earlier. He wasn't a bad student. I just sometimes question his focus. You know, you take him from doing halfway decent at Beecher to Powers where, you know, the focus is more academically. Then he starts getting on the high, you know, getting on the honor roll, and he's a little bit more focused, only because he went to an environment where, you know, there was a tough focus on academics. Then, you know, we go to the prep school and it's the same thing. It was a tough focus on academics, so he just was in that environment that, you know, pushed education, that really said, hey, sit down and focus. And now some of the proudest moments are when, you know, I see him tweeting at night saying that he's going to finish a paper and then go to the gym. Like, that's a great feeling. It's great to see that he's focused and he's really going after it. Because that's been, you know, the goal since he first decided he loved basketball.
The church, like, I grew up in church. I rarely miss a Sunday in church or a Wednesday for Bible study. I grew up in church, and that's real key to me. Like, with being a part of a church, like doing what the church needs me to do, like playing my role, being a leader. The church played a major role with me growing up. Like me, when I was little, I really didn't pay attention to it, but as I grew, I started paying attention to my father preaching and others just telling me about church, Sunday school, Bible study. I started paying attention more and just started giving feedback, asking questions, and then it all helps out in reality. A lot of people think that religion and church is not going to help you in life, but if you think about it and take the time to go to church and just like meditate, and it all helps out and comes back into reality. So it all helps out in life and everything else.
Yeah. Well, even out of this darkness that we've seen, this plague we've seen, you have a Clarissa Shields who, you know, gold medalist of Flint. You know, so it just simply says that Flint has so many great potentials. We have to change what has been the suggestive norm. I was doing tutoring in a school, and at Holmes Middle School, which is now closed down, unfortunately, I was doing tutoring and had these two young kids in there, and they just kept acting up, and I kept getting on them because I tell them, you know, hey, at the end of the day, if you want to be helped, I'm gonna help you, and you know, you won't run this. But when I went out to talk to the teacher to let the teacher know, and I took the boys with me, right there in front of the boys, she said, you shouldn't expect more of them. I said, wow, really? I said, I think that's a problem. I said, because I do expect more. I say, I don't understand why you wouldn't expect more.
Still expanding my vision. Does that make sense? Because I realize the sky is the limit. It doesn't stop. So there isn't like, okay, this is it. Yeah, I have goals and I have like markers, but the end ultimate goal, I don't really know. I'm just keep gonna go. But now I'm starting to get more into that. And more of that is being myself. I mean, that's as simplistic and corny or however you want to say the sound. It's being comfortable with me. It's not being, and part of it is going by Todd and not TJ as much. But it's almost trying to create a new identity, to recreate myself. And to do that, it's been interesting. Because people who've known you for years, I mean, you've known yourself for years, a situation comes up and you know exactly what you would have done a million times without even thinking.
He had his head on, you know, he was focused, he knew what he wanted to do. And we tried to put him in the best possible situation to get it done, and around people who had high enough character that would show that character and would exemplify it for him and help him with it, not only in basketball but in life. And that meant a lot to me. So we went to Powers, where there was a Tim Herman, you know, went to West Virginia, which we just simply loved, USF, where there was a Coach Heath. And so we just tried to put him in situations that would help him. Even with AAU, Coach Norm, people that was high character. And I think that's a lot of time, you may not have the best of everything, you may not have the most money, but you have to try to put your child in the best situation that you can possibly put them in that would be conducive to success of whatever level that would be. And so that's what we did.
To be honest, I think in the last few years, Beecher is starting to make a lot of steps to, I won't say be like Powers, but prepare their students to be ready for, life after high school. I can remember where it was a time you would have great athletes at Beecher, and that's as far as they would go, Beecher. Like, they would be great high school athletes, and that would be it. But now kids are starting to, get out of here and be successful, be success stories.
How's that going to change? Like, how's it going to keep getting better? Because for a while it was going down.
It went down. I think collectively they have a group of people out there, and I'm not very familiar. I'm kind of like on the outside looking in, but I think they got a group of people out there that are really trying to get the kids out there, really trying to do some positive things, and really that's what it takes. And I can honestly say, I was just talking to their coach, Mike, yesterday, and I told him how it is so impressive how their community supports those kids. Wherever they play, no matter what, they're going to be there supporting them. And not only that, I can remember last year they played a game over at Southwestern, and people from the Beecher community came over to Southwestern and helped out with security, made sure nothing happened, even though nothing did, but just to see that support, I hope those kids appreciate it, because little stuff like that will get them real far.
Before, you only jumped ship, like if you were an athlete or something like that, you wanted to go to a different school. But nowadays, the options are so far and wide that individuals don't stick around anywhere long enough to have anything of tradition. The households are breaking down. You have some kids that are going to 2 or 3 different schools within one school year. They don't have that opportunity to develop that tradition. You see what I'm saying? They're moving to 2 or 3 different neighborhoods over a 2 or 3 year span. They don't have an opportunity to develop that tradition. So do I think that there's a void? Yes. Do I think Central was the ultimate answer? As a whole, no. But was it the great answer for me? Most definitely. Most definitely. By far, hands down, the best educational experience I've ever had. And I think during the time, it was the best educational experience of any high school.
All right.
I don't think it's ever good to sell yourself short with setting any kind of goals. My goal is always the NBA, and I was very realistic about my talent level and my chances of actually making the NBA. But I always said that. That's the goal. There's no reason to shoot for second place. And failing, there's nothing wrong with setting a high goal and failing at it at all. It's I can't accept not trying. I can accept failure. If I don't try, then that's bothers me.
I think it has to do with Flint, you can see, is rising with crime. So I think it has to do with that, and then school closings, and I think it's a lot of talent out here still, just hard to find, and it's hard to get them on the national level to display their game. But Flint talent, it went down dramatically from when Mateen and Charlie Bell and them and Kevin Tarver and them used to play. So it went down a lot. So a lot of players are trying to start something new and go to the prep level and just display their game on the prep level to get noticed by colleges and just a lot of scouting services. So that's how I think it.
You have to work hard?
Definitely. That's it. Our community, you have to. There's a saying, if you can make it in Flint, you can make it anywhere. And you do. You have to work extra hard to, if you grew up on the north side, you have to work extra hard to get yourself out of the north side to go, do whatever, whatever career path you take, and be able to take care of yourself and your family. You have to. We have another element that surrounds us that we have to get past. There's this element that a lot of other cities don't have to deal with.
One of my sons, I had a son that was killed in 2007, that was 14. Son that killed in 2010, which was 26. Well, the one who shot my 14-year-old, we don't know who shot him. He was just kind of a victim of got caught in a crossfire. The one that shot my 26-year-old son, my son was a victim of a robbery. The guy who shot him was 20 years old, turning 21. When I seen him in court, I really had compassion on him. And the first thought that came to my mind is, what could we as society, if there was anything we could have done, what could we have done different? Because this kid, and to me he's a kid, he homicide with my son, he had another double homicide, he had attempted murder. I'm thinking, and you're this young and your life is done. But what mindset did you have that suggested this? Because guess what, it's a whole lot of them growing up. If we don't figure it out and start implanting something in them that is going to be long-term productivity, it becomes the same thing. It's just revolving.
We all play a role too.
Oh, we all play a role. I tell people, you're either part of the solution or the problem. No matter how you see it, you can say, well, I'm just going to stay in my house and mind my business. You're part of the problem, you know, and that's just the reality of it. So we all play a role in this thing.
Somebody don't walk that rocking chair. Somebody don't. Somebody don't walk that rocking chair. Somebody don't. Yes, I used to feel so fine, baby. Now I'm booking up a time, baby. Somebody don't walk that rocking chair. Was it you? Somebody don't steal my yellow paper song. Somebody don't. Somebody don't steal my yellow paper song. Somebody don't. Stray cat marching through the gate, baby. Carrying his dinner plate, baby. Somebody don't steal my yellow bird song. Was it you? Somebody don't pick that strumming guitar. Somebody don't. Somebody don't pick that strumming guitar. Somebody don't. And man, that flat top sure could ring, but you can't play the blues with just 5 strings. Somebody don't pick that strumming guitar. Was it you? Somebody don't walk that rocking chair. Somebody don't. Somebody don't walk that rocking chair. Somebody don't. Was it you? Was it you? early morning dew. By sunset, I regret leaving too soon. And I make my way north to the West Virginia lines, where the mountains grow tall and the roads go through the pines. And hey, hey, what you gonna say? I said, I've been gone a few more weeks and I'm coming home today. And oh, no, what you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna give me a visa, give me money to bring her back home to you. With a mountain green, it is now gray and black, for thousands some gravel and some sweat. But we can break these peaks and carve through the stone, for a bridge over water and an underbuilt railroad. And me. What you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna give me a visa, give me money, bring her back home to you.